Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM22 Career Mode, episode 107. We're almost to the end of the Giro. It's stage 19 of 21. But we have a 27-kilometer time trial, individual time trial, that is primarily one big climb. That's good for our mountain ratings, as the time trialing aspect of it won't hurt quite as bad. The first sector is 7 kilometers. So 7 kilometers of the 27 are going to be on the flat. And then we go up for 20K, and that's going to transition from your time trial rating to your mountain rating. And that's going to absolutely help our top guys out. They're going to lose some time on that first 7K. It's still going to impact the climb itself, but it's going to be primarily the mountain rating, and that's going to make a big difference. But where we're at this point, we are at the whims of race day condition. It is going to be massively important for this stage. If you don't know already, if you haven't spent enough time, if you haven't played on this difficulty level before, the bonuses that the other riders get, with help, with careful planning, strategically, you can often win, or at least be competitive against similar or better opposition on this difficulty level. But in a time trial, it's near impossible if you don't have a bonus, because it really purely comes down to the attributes, and no tactics are going to make a big difference. Now, you can absolutely mess things up, but even when doing things correctly, you're rather limited on how you can perform. So from two guys just inside the top 10 who aren't the greatest of time trialists, we at least have +3 race day conditions expected for both. They have big preparation and objective bonuses, but fatigue has really set in by late in the third week. Speaking of that fatigue that's really set in, their fitness has fallen off. It's now into the mid-80s for Martinez and Piccioni both, but they still at least have that fitness peak bonus. Bausch looks like his fitness peak is going to trigger in the next day or two, and that's lousy that he's waited right until the end and is pretty much missed out entirely on it, as he's actually our third 5.5 star guy here is Bausch, surprisingly enough. But of course, he's a classics guy. He's a Barodur type based on those ratings, so he really isn't that much to really be bothered by anyway. But let's go ahead and take this stage, and we're going to take it in its entirety, rider by rider, and see what is the inch perfect kind of effort that you can put in. But of course, as you move from, Bausch, to who's 99th overall with a 64 mountain rating, up to Potomar, who has a 72 mountain rating, and then you're going to start getting a little more congested as you have Gonzalez with his 79, but -4 expected. McKellar with a 73, but a +2 expected. It's going to start getting congested. We got 4 guys within 20 spots of each other in the rankings, and then of course the final 2. And Bausch sets off. He's got a +3 race day condition. That is a +1 compared to his expected. And as we go through the first sector, I'm trying a 74 first and foremost, and you can see even through here, that's not a lot of spare energy. He's already 3/4 of a minute down, and that is with a time trial rating of 76. Prologue is completely irrelevant today, as we are +25 kilometers, which is 100% time trial usage. But then, of course, you hit the climb, and then it's going to start taking your mountain rating, and you can see with a 74 effort, not going to make it. Clearly not going to make it the whole distance. We're going to have to back off here quite a bit. Looks like a 74 is a bit too hard. We're going to have to try to go a bit softer with the next guy. But of course, Bausch, not a climber, just a 68 mountain rating for him. Stamina is good at 82. That is part. You can see he's definitely made progress on Drisner's here, climbing at a faster rate, but very much running out of energy, much too fast. We're going to have to back off some more Looks like closer to a 70 is going to be what's necessary to hold things. But for now, fourth place at the second time check at a minute 25. We got somebody coming up close behind us that is gaining a lot of time on us. Ponamar coming up, though, fairly soon. 9 guys up until his turn. And we're already to 5K for Bausch, so it's not like we're crazy over the effort that was necessary. I mean, he's making it to 3K here. But he's definitely going to lose some ground the last 2K as he runs out of energy, and has done so with 2K left to go. But he'll climb whatever he's got left in those legs, get to that finish line. Definitely losing time rapidly now, but the other guy hasn't passed us, so at least there's that. And reaches the line, 5th place at that moment at 3:11. That's really good for such a poor climber. Now, Ponamar, unfortunately, has already sprung a leak and gone, a good 3K down the road. So he's gone way too deep off the line. Way too deep there. 71 time trial, so he's much worse at this discipline. 73 mountain, though, is quite a bit better than Bausch. We'll see how long he can hold a 70, but I already know that is too deep based on, so we'll try a 69 from here for Ponamar. Can he hold that fairly steady with his mountain rating? Minute 10 down at that first time check. So again, poor time trial rating cost him a full minute. There's going to be some really big gaps today. This is a very big stage for us, and that race day condition is going to be crazy important. Now, we already know Bausch was +1 for Ponamar. Kept a screenshot of this, but it's on my phone. It keeps going to sleep. +2 was his expected, so we are already neutral at this point in time on how we're looking as Gonzalez is getting ready to set off Ponamar. He is definitely below where he needs to be at this point, and he's 3:24 down, which isn't a great time, but he is so far moved up 56 positions from the first time check. That's huge progress, and that is down to a climbing rating. So Gonzalez should be a lot better, except for the -30 race day condition. That's about what that looks like. That's got to be -5, and it is. His expected was a -4, and not only has he gotten worse than that, but I mean that's literally as bad as you can get. That I think that is probably the worst I've ever seen in terms of a decrease. So ouch. We are going to let him kind of ride on his own as McKellar, who is next up, is going to head out. McKellar on a +3. His expected +2. So again, still neutral after 4 riders. Trying that 70 to see how it goes. You can see Ponamar with 69 is not quite going to get there. We're going to back off a little bit. I think once you hit the climb, maybe you need to drop from a 70 to a 69. Sobrero is now on top ahead of Cavilli by 4 seconds. Once you really start climbing, just drop that little bit. Gonzalez, 100th at a minute 45 down. What is his rating? 67 today. 74 mountain. McKellar, meanwhile, has a 76 and a 73 on the time trial. He was a minute 19. Definitely better placed, but clearly losing time. But I think conserving that energy for the climb is going to come in handy. So Chergai sets off. He's got a +4. +4 for Chergai, and his expected +3. So we are now +1. +1 on the expected so far. Ponamar finished in 21st. I lost track of his finishing, so I couldn't help him at the end. I have no idea if he had energy left or not, but as we're watching Gonzalez here, he has not gone into a deficit. I think we're going to go back up to that 70. 70 seems to just about be holding. If you go in with a 70, you're saving enough energy that through the climb, it looks like you're going to just about make it. Put him at a 70. Ooh, he's at a 0. That's harsh. That's expected. That is expected, and these last two guys are each at +3s on their expected. Alaphilippe goes top of the time charts by 34 seconds. Campenarts is 7th. Ghana is 9th. The best time trialists are putting in good times, but they're just not quite the climbers they need to be. And you can see now that 70 is starting to fade and turn towards a negative balance in terms of the energy. But again, you can afford to go about 2K on Red Bar alone. So therefore, if you get to that point, you should just about make it to the finish line without running out of energy. We'll see if that is the case here with Gonzalez, who up to 66th, about 4.5 minutes down. He is being caught by Seb Berwick here, and that's a sad state that he is that far down. But you can see as he goes to hit the finish line, he almost made it to the finish line without running out. 54, 7:08 down, but McKellar does reach the line just in time, or right about that anyway. And he was, and you can see Turgai with a little something left. Oh my gosh, really? When did you two start? Piccioni has a +1. They were not under my freaking control. Damn it. I just looked and they hadn't started yet. But they started up. Well, you make those first 7K pretty damn fast. Climbs take a lot longer, but man, they wasted way too much energy. Way too much. I mean, we're already at you're going to have to go a 68 kind of territory because they're hitting the climb at a big deficit. And for what? Way more time is coming out of the climb. Told you, managing too many riders at once. Piccioni has a +1, so he's got a -2 on his race day condition, but Martinez does have a +4. Martinez has a +4 here as Turgai is heading for the line. 12th, 2:06. That's a good time. That is a good time for Turgai. So Garzone, 5.6. Yeah, we're okay on that one. But yeah, Piccioni. Man, that sucks. 29th, 25 seconds down at the first time check for him. Martinez is 22 seconds down. He's got a 76 time trial, 84 mountain. Piccioni stays the same, 79 and 75. He would have been better in this if he had the race day condition, as Herman was a spot ahead of us, so Garzone has caught Herman. We'll finish things off. Turgai now 16th as he starts to fall down a little bit. Hugh Carthy has gone top of the time charts. Garzone not quite going to make it to the finish. I should have... Oof, there's that pace difference. 3:35 in 35th place, Piccioni. Still struggling, not really gaining here, really, either of them. Check it in, second time check. Piccioni, 21st at 1:46. Martinez, 9th place and just 42 seconds down. But again, these guys have gone too deep because the AI pushed too hard too early. And now they're going to be really slow where it counts. Taberi goes top of the time charts. Leknessund is now second. 5K to go, and so little left in the tank for either one of these guys is a problem. 4K. We're definitely recovering a lot of that energy issue, but there's Nordhagen. 9th, Piccioni is 10th, so Nordhagen did start behind us and is passing us, so Piccioni is definitely going backwards here. 1.9K, and already into just the yellow. 1K, just about making it here like this. 600 meters, 500 meters. And 24th, 2:53 down. Martinez inside the final kilometer. Coming up on the finish line. Sixth, 53 seconds for Martinez. That That's a pretty good time, all things considered. Vestad Bartsing, especially how it started. Bartsing second. Krantz goes top. Of course he does. He's got the best mountain rating and the best time trial rating of any of these guys. And McNulty goes second. It's a good time, but it's not matching up with those top few guys. So we're not losing a lot of ground for Martinez, which is helpful, certainly. Vlasov second. It's a mountain rating and it's the fitness peaks that they all have. There's at least one guy losing a big chunk of time there. Last across the line. Martinez gets 10th on the stage after the... I'll take the blame for it. I'll absolutely take the blame for it. But after me not picking up on their start until it was too late, and how much we had to back off at the end and the time we lost at the end, that was not appropriate AI management of their pace. But it's funny how every other team, their guys managed it just fine. All those other riders had plenty left at the finish line. Our guys would have been out of energy way before the finish line. So why the AI can balance one but can't balance the other? I don't know. That's not for me to answer. But if I had caught them from the very start, I can guarantee you we would have had a better time by at least 20, 30 seconds with each of those two riders, because we would have lost time on the flat. But that energy consumption that we would have saved would have gone into the climb, and we would have gained that time back and significantly more. Krantz leads the young riders. Martinez is third. Piccioni is fifth. So Nordhagen obviously did pass Piccioni there. Garzone seventh, by the way. Chergai is 10th. We're all over that young riders classification. But yeah, I clearly would have sacrificed one, which would have meant losing 30 seconds to a minute, for the other, which would have turned into a couple minutes worth of gains. I would have rather had it the other way around. I think I could have had Martinez within a minute anyway. He's not going to win that thing. He's not going to beat Krantz with a 86 mountain and 79 time trial. Not happening. Now, our 83, 84 mountain that we had on the day with a 76 time trial, it would have been behind that for sure, but it wouldn't have been massively behind that. I think we could have probably matched Tiberi. I think we could have been, about a minute better off than we were. But we are where we are. That's what happens when you're trying to manage the entire team. And if I just take Martinez, we'll just throw this one out there. Let me move the face cam. If I skip all the other riders and only focus on Martinez and ignore them, I wouldn't have done better. Reason being, where did we start? Right? We started with Bausch. Bausch was our test subject. He was our lab rat. I went way too hard with Bausch, and we were running out of energy. Now, by the fourth guy, fifth guy, we had it figured out. But it's those samples that get you to that point. So if I'm not managing the other guys, I'm not properly prepared for Martinez, and we don't get that just right. So there's that trade-off. I didn't get it just right because I waited too long to switch to those two, and I ended up having to back off a lot to get them over the line. And the time that they lost in that backing off was definitely more than what they gained on the flat. So that part's obvious. But again, I'm not going to get it right either if I don't manage the other guys. Now, could I have managed the other guys and recognized when I needed to switch my focus to those last two riders? Oh, hell yeah. I missed it. I flat missed it. So for that, 100% blame's right there, right on me. I did what I had to do because you have to get those test subjects out of the way to get the effort necessary, to find the balance, to get what you need out of it. I have to manage all of that and recognize that those guys are about to set off. And I totally missed that. And so, yes, I did not play that as well as I could have or should have. The time losses aren't huge. We got a top 10 with Martinez. It was still good. We almost got it right. But I'm looking at that situation going, I know that if I had controlled you from kilometer zero, I could have gotten in more time. Anyway, let's check in where we're at. Minute 44 loss to Krantz. No surprise there. The guy's insanely good and on plus fives. So, competing with those top 4-5 guys that are just clearly doing well was never to be expected. But Buitrago, not here. J Vine, not here. So there are some guys that have been performing lately that are taking huge losses. There will be some changes. Let's see. Vlasov leads from Krantz, 50 seconds ahead. Krantz from off the podium all the way back up to second, and certainly in contention with 2 stages to go. McNulty, minute 19 down, top 3 podium very clear. Svestad Bardsang is almost certainly going to finish in 4th place at this point, as he has been phenomenal the last week. He's just a little bit too far behind the top 3. They're just a little bit too strong compared to him, but he's also got a healthy gap behind him and has been very strong. Buitrago loses a bunch of time and is now down to 5th place. One minute ahead of us. Can still be beaten. Absolutely can still be beaten. We've also passed J Vine to get up into 6th. Right? Yes, we were 7th. So we have moved up a spot. Nordhagen has moved up 2 spots to 8th. Arnsman to 9th. Tish Banut, wow, all the way up to 10th for him with Bernal, and then Piccioni. Piccioni from 12th. Does this mean I can send him in a break again and hope to gain a few minutes? That would get him back into the top 10 if he can pick up a few minutes. Or do we ride and protect Martinez and hope to cement that place and keep Piccioni if we can, in the top placings? There are some close times from Tish Banut on down the order a ways. Let's see, how far is that ways? I'd say through about Van Gils or Kobo in 17th, 18th. Garzone a bit too far out of it. Could absolutely be the guy in a break. If he could go gain 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, suddenly he would be back up there. But we have bettered our position overall with Martinez. Even if he gains a minute, he's still in 6th place. So that part would have been unchanged regardless. I think all in all, got to say that was a good stage. Not a great stage, but definitely a good stage. Final 2 stages are inbound, and stage 21 is a flat sprint stage. So stage 20 is the last chance to overtake Buitrago and climb a spot into the top 5. I think for Martinez, I mean, hey, I'll be real with you. I mean, looking at how his ratings, yes, he has a good mountain rating, but then everything else falls off a bit. When you add the fact that others have a very, very similar mountain rating, even if they're a couple points behind us, the reality is they're at least a couple points ahead of us at minimum, because everybody around us has, every good climber has a +4 based on the difficulty level. So if they're all 84 to 86 mountain ratings, and even the average guys are similar mountain ratings to us, it's tough to overcome that. And it becomes even tougher when we're bad at time trials, and we've had 3 of them in this tour, and B, our stamina or flat ratings aren't quite good enough. Our recovery ratings aren't good enough. So that combination, a little bit too much. And there's clearly been some guys in some really, really good form this time around. Yes, we have won the Giro before, but it was with Krantz. And look who's on the podium ahead of us. Krantz. Remember who was in the teens in that Giro? That was Martinez. Martinez has cracked the top 10 before at, what was it, La Vuelta last year or something like that? Did he crack the top 10? I mean, he was right around 10th place. So, on the edge, fighting for a top 5, not bad. I think the podium was always going to be a real stretch, especially with this field. I mean, there are some really good ones here. You can see Krantz, last year's winner. That was not the same field. Moss and Vlasov, and Vlasov was terrible form. I think we're, under the circumstances, I feel like this has been a fairly good tour. Things have not gone well at times. We've had some pretty poor draws on a lot of days. Yesterday was a neutral draw. Nothing wrong with it. I think our overall was a -1 out of the entire team. No, it was neutral. It was neutral, right? Piccioni was -2, but was that Garzone before him had a +1, and Martinez had a +1. So it did balance out in the end, zeros across the board. Unless you count Gonzalez, because that looked like about a -10 draw. Can't go any lower than -5 though, so I guess neutral it was. But anyway, one mountain stage to go. Here's the thing, I don't think I've mentioned it on this series as of yet, or actually I don't think I've mentioned it on any of my PCM content. I am going on vacation. At the time of recording, it's just over a week from now. I am going to be out of the country for 2.5 weeks. I may respond to comments once or twice that whole time during that 2.5 week stretch when I get some data to make things happen. But I'm going off the grid for 2.5 weeks and going to enjoy life. The channel will not disappear for those 2.5 weeks though, as I have been working hard to record ahead of time as much content as I can manage. But I also have a business that I'm trying to run, and I have a lot of prep to do for that. I coach multiple sports. Basketball season just ended up, and a couple hours from now I'm going to have my end of season basketball end of season review meetings with my staff and with the athletic director and everything else, and then prepping for track season. I'm the boys head coach, meeting with the girls head coach. I'm meeting with doing an interview for a prospective assistant coach. Got stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. I'm probably looking at 150 hours of work right now. Channel, business, coaching. 150 hours between now and the next 9 days to get everything done that I want to get done for this trip. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I've been working really hard for the last couple of weeks to do what I can, and I've done well, but I'm not sure I'm going to get it all done. I'm trying, though. I'm really trying. So at the moment, the plan is to still have 2 episodes per week for the next few weeks on this series. 2 episodes per week instead of the normal 3 on Dragons for the next few weeks until I get back to normal, until I get back from vacation. But there might be a few shorter episodes. I could probably squeeze 20 into this episode, but man, oh man, will it make it easier on me if I put it into the next episode and stage 21 and, 2 episodes in what would have otherwise been 1. I know for you, you're probably going, wait, I want to see 20 right now. It'll be out a couple of days. So sorry about that, but I am on some pretty serious time constraints. So 1 more episode will wrap up the Giro. We'll have a little bit of national championships kind of stuff. And then, hey, tours coming up next. We'll see if I go for a different objective on that one. I don't even remember what team I've quite named for that, but I do think I am kind of aiming for GC and seeing what we can do there. Maybe not. Maybe we're looking for a KOM situation. I don't know entirely. We'll see. We'll get there when we get there. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And bye for now.